When you apply for a job at the bank, they will do a background check to see whether you have a criminal record in relation to finances. When you go to apply for a job at the hospital, they will do a background check to see whether you have a medical education or whether you were involved with recreational drugs in the past. If you apply for an international driver's license, they will check if you have a national driver's license to begin with. If you apply for benefits because you don't have a job, for welfare, they will do a social security to see whether you truly are without a job or whether you're not working on the black market or anything like that. So background checks are common in the world. If, for example, if you're applying for a job at high school, they surely would do a background check to see whether you don't have any sex offenses on your record. Why are they doing background checks? It's not because they're holding on to the past. It's not because they are personally interested in what you were or what you did in the past. Background checks are to examine whether someone fits a job. But not only that, background checks are also to examine what type of individual they're dealing with. And more importantly, background checks reveal what is coming after you. Very important. Let me give an example. If you have someone that wants to work at a lawyer's office, for example, but this individual used to hang around drug dealers, potential human traffickers in the past. Now, if that lawyer's office decides, okay, we're going to hire you, what will they do? They'll be endangering their reputation as well as the potential well-being of their corporation. You know why? Because those people you used to be involved with in the past that were involved in dealing drugs on the streets and potential human trafficking, they remember you. And if they later find out that you work as a lawyer or you're associated with a lawyer's office, what will they do? They will seek your assistance when they are in legal trouble. And likely they won't ask it in a polite way. They will force themselves through it. That's what those type of people do. So the lawyer's office has a full right to refuse to you at a job if they see that hiring you at a job will be at the detriment of that office. Another thing, if you used to have, if you used to drive drunk often, and you often got in trouble with the law for it, and now you are applying for a job as an Uber driver or a taxi driver, then people may understand that you've changed. But if during your drunk driving you made some victims, and I'm not saying that people died, but if people got hurt or people suffered damage, in this case property damage, because what you did during drunk driving, then some of those people may be upset with you, and if they encounter you or see you, it may escalate. So if you don't live in the same neighborhood, but you live in a total new place, there the taxi service or the Uber service may decide we're going to hire you. Now, this video is not aimed at jobs. I'm using background checks for jobs as a parable to go towards the spiritual. In the world, employers do background checks to secure the safety and well-being of their business and also their own safety as an individual. Because remember, those employers, they have their families and they have their staff also, and their staff also has family and relatives. So if they hire someone that's a potential threat or potential danger, they'll be endangering themselves and the staff. And that will lead to other problems. Because if one of the staff members becomes the victim of someone that's hired, and later relatives of that staff member find out that the boss was aware of the risk, but the boss hired that perpetrator anyway, then the boss is in big trouble. Also, the authorities will trouble that boss because that boss should have known better. Now, when it comes to the spiritual, how often do you perform a spiritual background check? Maybe you never heard of this. This may be the first time you hear such a term, but I need to ask you, how often did you perform a spiritual background check? Just think about it. You meet someone new. Okay, it doesn't have to be in a marital or sexual setting. It can be just that you meet someone new maybe at work, or maybe while traveling, you meet people. Okay, that's good. You extend yourself socially. Fine. But the people you meet, they didn't fall out of the sky. They didn't just came into existence just like that. They were born somewhere. They were raised by a group of people. They endured things. The fact they're still alive means they survived violence. Because there is violence in the world. And there are quite some people that don't even reach adulthood because violence took away their lives. So they survived violence. And if they are in their 20s or older, they may have sexual interest, so they may have access and all of that. So they have a past that led to who they are today. And they will likely not reveal everything about their past to you. And that's reasonable. But just realize, everyone wants to be accepted. Even the hardcore narcissist wants acceptance, but they want acceptance at everyone else's expense. So because human beings have this deep need to be accepted, they will not reveal anything about themselves or about their past that may upset you. It can be, for example, I'm just giving an example now, that you met this, let's say you're a guy and you met this woman and you think she's a potential marriage partner. It can be that in the past, she used to backbite on some of her friends, and she used to be very ugly towards certain people just because she didn't want to face things. However, people became bitter against her, and now she has people that may want to take revenge on her. So now she's escaping the past. Well, that's what she aims to do. She is running away from stuff. So now she meets you and she thinks, finally, somewhere where I can hide. So she only sees you as an option to hide. But she lets you think she's in love and all of that just to win you over. Because if she would be transparent and open about what she did in the past and what her motives are, you would think, hold on a minute. I don't want to be your escape for your own I don't want to be your escape for the consequences of your narcissistic attitude. I want you to face things. Because then you would clearly see that this individual will be a liability onto you very soon, because the only reason they want to be involved with you is because they want to avoid something. So they're actually using you. But how often does it happen that you have couples where one of the spouses ends up dead or abused, mistreated, or with a burnout, or anyway in a very bad state because the other spouse only got involved and only agreed to the marriage just to escape something they didn't want to face. And in some of those cases, it becomes fatal for the spouse that was used. Such things happen. Police corpses are filled with cases where one spouse was killed by the other spouse or with the assistance of the other spouse because that the suspect didn't want to face things. Now look at this. In many of those cases, if that individual who ended up as a homicide victim, so they can't do anything anymore because they're dead, but if that victim, when they were alive, if they would have done a spiritual background check, they would have seen things about that other individual. They would have thought, oh, no, I'm not getting into this trap. Or it can be that you have parents and your parents have a borderline attitude. They're lying about you, claiming that you were disrespectful towards them, that you stole money from them, whatever. They're lying about you just to get attention from others. So now people are rumoring about you, about how horrible you are towards your parents, even though none of it is true. But if you would perform a background check, a spiritual background check on your parents, which should be easy for you to do because you grew up with those folks, if you would conduct a spiritual background check, you would figure out that they are infested with negative energy and that they are abusive. And the moment you do that and you figure out what they are, you keep your distance from them and you can heal from whatever they did to you. And another thing, if those other people will listen to the lies of your parents, if they would perform a spiritual background check, they would realize very quickly that those people are filled with trash. That those people just want to drain others of their sympathy. Because now those people that keep listening to your parents' lies, they are enabling those people in their victimization of you. And that's the thing. You need to perform a spiritual background check on people to avoid them using you to victimize someone else. Because evildoers or people that are, let me say, perpetrators in general, they want to be enabled. So they will lie or they will twist facts to get you in agreement with them. They want you to enable them, but they know that you will only enable them if you think they are innocent or you think they are a victim. The moment you see who and what they really are, they know it's game over for them. But that's the thing. Most people never heard of doing a spiritual background check. And even if they know, they often don't want to do it because they think that will be invading someone's privacy or whatever. No. Get rid of this thing called privacy. Okay, of course, people should have their data guarded from people that shouldn't access the data. Okay, that's obvious. People should have their practical space to live as human beings. That's obvious, okay? But this whole privacy myth makes you vulnerable to predators. Why? Because in the world, corporations, employers, and especially the government does not believe in this privacy myth, which is a hoax anyway. They do a background check. They often don't even tell you that they're doing a background check, but they will do a background check so that they won't face unpleasant or harmful surprises. So, if in the world, the pagans, because many of those employers are pagan, if in the world pagans perform spiritual background checks, they're in the paranormal, so they'll likely go to a fortune teller or they'll do their own rituals at home, whatever they're doing. They do a spiritual background check. Now, even though their background checks are paranormal, they're still accurate. They do those spiritual background checks besides the regular everyday background checks that are often prescribed by law. They do them so that they won't face potential harmful consequences in the future. You should do spiritual background checks. And here's the thing. You follow Christ. So it should be far easier and far more effective for you to conduct spiritual background checks. Conducting a spiritual background check can also just be that you decree and declare that someone's true colors are revealed, even without them being aware of it. You can pray such stuff. You can also decree and declare that you'll see who an individual is. You can also decree and declare that hidden things of an individual are revealed onto you. Now, some people say, Rashid, you're going too far, or you're going deep into people's domain. No. They don't have a domain. They don't. You have the right to know what you're dealing with. Whether you're dealing with animals, or with machines, or with a landscape, or with other human beings, you are entitled to know what you're dealing with. Because you'll be the one dealing with it, and if there are consequences, you'll carry the consequences. And next thing, if you're dealing with something that will affect you, even if that thing is gone after a while, you're dealing with other people who will be affected by the consequences that have affected you. If you've been involved with a swindler or a scammer, and you've been drained financially, let's say now you move on with your life from what happened, it still has an effect on you that you've lost a lot of money. So the new people you now are involved with will face a bankrupt you. So they're now also affected by what happened to you in the past. So you had the right to know what you were dealing with. And because the scammer was scamming you, the scammer didn't want you to know what you were dealing with. And so now other people are indirectly also affected by what affected you. So both individually as well as collectively, you have the right to know what you're dealing with. And if you're involved with someone who doesn't want you to know what you're dealing with, then 9 out of 10 times that individual has something to hide. And the thing they're hiding, they know that if it comes out, they will lose. Likely you are dealing with a scammer. Now don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that people are obliged to tell you everything. Not even the Most High tells us everything, okay? I'm not saying people are obliged to tell you everything. Neither am I saying that you need to intrude, that you need to become intrusive in people's affairs just to know everything about them. I'm not saying that you ought to do that. What I'm saying is, on a spiritual level, you should know what you're dealing with, and you have the right to know what you're dealing with. Look, people can hide things. People can conceal things. If you are dealing with a high school teacher and he's about to give a test, he should keep the test answers concealed. He should keep the test answers hidden, or else it will be useless to test the students. That's the reason he needs to keep the answers hidden. So in that case, he has a legitimate reason to conceal that information. Okay? So people have the right to conceal information if the concealment can be justified. If let's say a homicide investigation is going on and you belong to the relatives of the victim, the police may tell you don't reveal much of the progress of the case because that may hinder the development of the case. And what they're saying is right. So then you have an obligation based on the greater good to conceal information concerning the progress of the investigation. So people do have the right to conceal things if the concealment can be justified. But there are times the concealment of information is not justified. For example, if someone would show sexual interest in you, but they're transgendered, okay? And the surgery is done so well that you don't even notice that they are actually the opposite gender. Now, such an individual should tell you who and what they are, because if they don't, and you get involved with them, they actually assault you in a sexual manner because they triggered you to be involved in something you didn't want to be involved in. In this case, having sex with someone of the same gender without you being aware of it. So there are times people should reveal information because it's in the interest of both the community as in their own interest for them to reveal it. You should be wise in this because you have people that will misuse information and they will even use information which is true against you. So you shouldn't conceal everything to everyone. Be wise. But you also should be aware that when someone is secretive without a proper reason, then you're dealing with a potential dangerous individual. That's why you don't have to ask someone something directly. Just do your spiritual background check. I'm not saying go to a fortune teller. That's how to do it in the paranormal. Just pray to Christ. Just pray. Or what I mean praying to Christ, what I mean is just ask the Holy Spirit to reveal things onto you. And keep your eyes open. You pray and you keep your eyes open. And just look into the individual. If it doesn't get you in direct trouble with the law, you can do it. I'm not telling you to break into an archive and look up their data because that will get you in trouble with the police and with prosecutors, all of that. So if it doesn't bring you in direct trouble with the law or it doesn't endanger your physical safety, then look into them. If they have a social media profile, check it. Even if the profile is not there, someone is catfishing others with their data, then at least you know this individual is the victim of scammers. Then you know that maybe one day this individual will be addressed about something they have nothing to do with. Then you know that. Always do a spiritual background check. You have the right to know what you're dealing with. Now, you don't have the right to all information because some information should remain hidden for the greater good of the community. However, that doesn't cancel out that the things you should know, you should know. Okay? So, conduct a spiritual background check with everyone. How about I said, conduct a spiritual background check concerning everyone you encounter. Just do it. Learn how to do it. And I told you how to do it through prayer and by keeping your eyes open. With keeping your eyes open, I mean examining people, examine the context. Also examine when you met those people. Check the timing. Because eventually comes down to the following. Are those people sent to you by the Holy Spirit? Or are they sent by the paranormal? Remember, there is no such thing as coincidence. So coincidences don't exist. Either the paranormal pushed them to you to trap you in the long run, or the Holy Spirit brought people to you to be ministered so that you would minister onto them. It's one of the two. There is no gray area. Who sent them? And are they willing to change for the better? Are they stuck in patterns and cycles? Or better, what's haunting them? Are people haunting them? Are curses haunting them? Are patterns haunting them? What's haunting them? Because if they're haunted by something and you're involved with them or they're around you, then whatever's haunting them will affect you too. And will affect everyone else around also. So do a spiritual background check. That's it for now. Keep agreeing with Christ and be at peace.